Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Can we please put that? Okay.
Okay, so.
Hi everyone, we are the directors of the HCHS Lip Dub 2018.
We just wanted to get together and kind of answer the questions that you might have about how we did this lip dub and pulled it off.
So if you're wanting to know how we did it or you're wanting to know how you can make one, then stay tuned.
Well, we came across some lip dubs last year on YouTube and we thought they were super cool and we had plans to make one, but of course that obviously didn't happen. We realized that it was a lot of planning and we weren't prepared to get into that at the time.
Our permission kind of journey, I guess you could call it, was not very easy because this was a big deal, kind of the first Tiger TV big production that would be going on. So we initially presented it to our principal, and he said that we needed to plan more of it and then bring it back to him. And so what we did is we did that. We planned everything down to a T, put together a PowerPoint, and presented it to him, and he said yes.
And don't ever assume no, because there was a point where we thought that it was going to be a hard no, and it wasn't. So
it wasn't.
Okay. I'm going to pause for a second.
Sorry.
So we started with a plan. We had a list of things that we had to get done with check boxes, and you had to go one by one to make sure that things were done the right way.
So we started out and we actually took our school map and drew it out on a big whiteboard just to figure out the route that we were going to use. Once we figured out our route, we actually took turns walking the route backwards, and just to try to find out how long it took to get from here to the football stadium, so tennis to the football stadium. Mm-hmm. And then once we had kind of a rough, okay, it takes roughly 8 minutes and so seconds. And so once we did that, we put that video into iMovie.
Then we used that video to see how long it would take, to have transition points, how long would we want a song to be in the tennis courts, and how long would a song have to be, to get us into the building. And we would make sure that all the transitions matched up, because that's what makes the video really interesting when stuff happens at the right time.
Your rough video most likely won't be exactly how you do it the day of, because ours wasn't. Correct. We had different shots that we used the day of, and so that's just kind of obviously a rough video. So that was very good to have a reference on.
We had mental transition points, and it made it easier for us to piece that music to that.
Yes, and we watched it so much that we just knew it inside and out. Mm-hmm. So since you'll be so in depth in the video, in the music, you'll just know.
We just started making up a list of songs that we love from today, that we love from when we were younger, oldies that Mr. Ron liked. We even left it open to our classmates and peers, and they would add to the list. And so we could see from everybody's different perspective what kind of music they liked. So we tried to incorporate a little bit of everything. We had country, we had pop, we had, classics, we had everything.
I do know that what we saw from the other lip dubs that we had watched, we knew that we didn't want to have pre-mashed music. We wanted to make our own, put our own stamp on it, and I think we achieved that pretty well.
Mashed it ourselves.
Mm-hmm. We actually had our list, and Carly would go in on iMovie, and we would piece them together. You can't start out with a fast song at the beginning. You have to build your way up. So we had to listen to the tempos of all of the songs.
To match your music, we chose iMovie, and like the lady said, and we used this because we had a 15-day YouTube challenge.
Thanks Mr. Shank.
And we all kind of got really good at using iMovie.
And after we pieced it with iMovie, we actually went in with a program called Pro Tools. We used that for our radio class, so it was pretty easy to adapt to that as well, and Mr. Shank helped us with that.
A lot of people asked about what kind of camera we used because our video looked really good, But in all reality, we just used an iPhone 7. We didn't use a fancy camera. You know, you don't have to have anything like that. You can just use your phone because it will end up looking really good if you use the right kind of equipment to accompany it.
And we also were asked, how did you keep it level the entire way? And we ordered something called a gimbal off of Amazon Prime, 2-day shipping.
Free 2-day shipping.
It was roughly like $120, I think. Not very expensive, especially for what we've used it for other things too.
For practices and for the day of, we had this big speaker. Shout out to John Mark Wolf for letting us use his. And it would literally, like the whole hallway, you could hear it like across the school. And so that was definitely a very big part in practices and actually the day of.
It's important that all the lip syncers can hear the music really well because that will help everybody stay on track.
And it also makes it easier for you to put the audio over when you're editing. Haters are motivators. Challenges that we faced, obviously people telling us we couldn't do it. I think that is something you will always come across. The day of, we went in hoping that all of our school would participate, but at the end of the day, that just wasn't the case. We had an auditorium full of 200 people, maybe more than that,
probably,
who didn't participate and weren't a part of the Lip Dub.
Our principal gave us one take the day of. One take because this was kind of a time where like grades were being put in because it was an end of the quarter. And actually, I think 2 days later was the start of fall break. And so grades needed to go in, so we couldn't miss so much class.
And having one take is not something you have to do. That's something we wanted to do. We thought it made the video look really seamless and made it look really good. And another thing that we did to make it seem seamless is we had our cameraman walking backwards, which is something that not a lot of lip dubs that we watched did.
Finding a cameraman was very hard.
Yes, we went through two.
Yeah, well, we went through
actually
more than that. We asked a few people, and it was a big commitment, and it was kind of scary because everything kind of fell on your shoulders the day of. But we found Matthew Roach. Shout out to him.
Yes.
He runs cross country, so he was more than capable of exerting a lot of energy. Because, you're walking backwards at a pretty decent pace for roughly 8.5 minutes. And that's hard. And we would have practices where he would do it 6 or 7 times and wouldn't even break a sweat.
Yes.
If you're going to do it with the gimbal and have somebody walking backwards, I recommend having somebody who's in shape to do it.
Yes.
And it's a lot easier to find one person that can walk backwards really well than have all of your lip dubbers try to walk backwards.
Yeah.
Right.
For practice, we started out trying to do it 2 groups at a time. So we took our route and took our music and sectioned it off between group 1, group 2, group 3 through group 6 or something. And so I think that in total we had 3 weeks of practice or something. And need I remind you, not everyone was there at one time. So the day up was when we had every single person there. Yeah. But our 3 weeks of practice, everyone attended way more than once. Probably everyone attended probably 4 to 5 times. And so practice does make perfect, as you can tell in our blooper reel.
We are a school who loves football season, and we are all about sports. And so we knew we wanted to have the football team running out through the T. We loved like the Friday night lights atmosphere. So we knew we wanted to end it with that. And because of that, that's why we wanted to do it in the fall, because just the weather was perfect that day.
It
literally was the prettiest day that month.
And actually, we were supposed to film the Lip Dub on October the 4th. And it fell through. That day, like, if we would have filmed it, it was like raining and all windy. And the next week, it was sunny and 75. And it was great. It was
so good.
Whew. That day was a good day.
Okay, so when we got done with the Lip Dub, we were like, okay, now what's next? And the first thing we had to do was go through and make sure that no one did anything inappropriate in the video. because that was the one main thing that Coach Mack said that we had to do. It's high school.
High school.
It's high school. That's just what happens. But we had nothing. We literally had nothing. Everybody did great. But that's one thing you really do have to watch out for, because, you don't want your school to get in trouble or anything like that.
Okay, so like we talked about, iMovie was what we were going to use since we were so good at it. So we pieced the music that we had mashed in iMovie to the video. And that was actually like one of the most difficult parts, because you had to get it down to a T. So if one thing was off, then it would mess the rest of the video up. So one little thing that's wrong in the beginning of the video, the end was completely off. So that was hard, but our dear teacher, Mr. Shank, found a way to do it.
Another thing, the beginning, we had to create an intro for Tiger TV, and Caleb Shank, he actually helped us with that. He made the intro. Mr. Shank and I, we created the Tiger TV logo, and we love our intro video. Thank you, Caleb.
Shout out to you. Okay, one thing that we definitely needed was door stops. We had a bunch of doors that we had to walk through to where we needed the doors open so that wouldn't be another obstacle we'd have to go through the day of. So we knew we needed 16 door stops because we had 16 doors we needed propped open. So we have a shop at our school, and they were gracious enough to make us all 16. So shout out to them for that, because they were definitely used the day of and during practices.
I'll also add, we needed somebody to fly a drone.
Yes.
So shout out to Mr. Derek Frazier. He helped us out with that. And then we also had somebody from the fire department bring us fog for the boys to run out with the football field. So thank you to them.
And
as
the
well.
cheerleaders.
Yes, they made the banner.
The banner
that they ran through.
Busted through, So
It's like a group effort. It's a team effort,
Yes,
definitely. You
very
got to have
much.
everybody involved.
We had to go through one day on just like through the yearbook and look at every single club and sports team that we had, because we wanted everybody to have a chance to say, hey, this is what we are, even if you aren't a key spot in the Lip Dub. And so what we did is we looked through all of those, and then we just kind of placed certain groups, certain places. So we knew where people were.
We wanted everybody to be represented. We wanted our whole school, and no matter what they're in, we wanted everybody to feel a part, because that's basically what we wanted this to be, is our whole school coming together to make one big thing.
I know one big thing that I would let everybody know is definitely don't plan it in 2 months like we did. Like, we were so stressed out. There were days that my eye would just be twitching because I was so there were so many things that had to get done. But really, a lip dub is a year-long process, and take that time to make it what it should be, like the quality. I think we had a really good quality video, but that was because we were staying up past hours, and we were here at the school until sometimes 8 at night. And don't do that to yourself. Definitely take the time to plan it out. All right, we hope that we were able to answer your questions. And if you have any more that we didn't get to, as always, you can leave them in the comments, and we'll try to answer them there. So,
thanks for watching.
Thank you.